Hi everybody, it's me, Teresa Perrin, and I have great news regarding MULN Automotives and the halt that occurred today, the latest news, and the potential for this to have a short squeeze. So let's get started. Please remember, nothing I say is financial advice, and always do your own DD. For full disclosure, I am long MULN and have been for quite some time. All I do is keep accumulating more because I strongly believe that this is a stock that is going to bring its holders that are patient significant wealth in the years to come. If that should change ever, I will be the first one to let you know that I have sold my position. Which, guys, don't confuse that and spread FUD. I haven't sold a single share. In fact, I just keep buying more. All right, guys, so currently MULN sits at 0.3279, so just shy of 33 cents. We were up 18.12% today and an additional 5.43% in the after hours. I just sent out a tweet letting everybody know that follows me on Twitter or that is looking up MULN on Twitter that there are currently no shares left to borrow. So this is pretty significant, although we all know that they like to use that F3 override, and wouldn't be surprised if miraculously, suddenly, somehow shares appear for them to borrow in short in the morning. All right, so in the past week, we are up 66.75% or 13 cents. Guys, this is huge. We are down, though, $5.17 or 94.04% in the past year. So, in my opinion, this means there's a lot of room to the upside. And if you look at the 5-year chart, we're down $3.76 or 91.96%. Clearly, guys, it is no mistake that MULN Automotives is undervalued at this price. So anybody buying in now is getting one heck of a deal, in my opinion. Today's volume was 620,691,150 shares. Guys, that is not a small amount by any means. According to Webull's technical analysis, we are looking at a strong bullish signal showing a short and medium term rise in price. Now, the long is still showing down, but that's because, guys, we unfortunately have been in a downward pattern, as you can see, for the past 5 years, essentially. But I firmly believe we have found our bottom and are going to work our way up from this low of 18 cents that we had back on December 7th. So, guys, since then, we've made very substantial moves. Today, we hit a high of 40 cents before we pulled back. I do believe we will continue higher going into tomorrow. And knowing David Mitchery, he probably has more bombs to drop. So, what caused today's move to the upside? Well, guys, we were halted because there was an announcement made in pre-market that MULN received a purchase order for $200 million from Randy Marion Isuzu, which is a division of Randy Marion Automotive Group, RMA. So, if you watch my previous video where I had asked about coming in and seeing the MULN Automotive vehicles, and they had no clue what I was talking about, or at least it appeared that way based on the response, I got a lot of feedback from that video. I did follow up immediately the next morning in my morning watch list video, but for those of you that do not watch that morning watch list, I just want you to know that I was told by several people that it was more than likely a bot that I was speaking to, or somebody that was hired from an outside temp firm, not temp firm, but like answering type service firm, and that they probably just weren't given updated information. So I had thanked them for that and said that I would check back after a few days and see and make a personal phone call to see if anybody in the company had been updated yet. But apparently I don't need to do that because look at right here. We have a purchase order, and I don't think there's anything more solid than that. So, as it appears, they are definitely going to be displaying the MULN's vehicles in their showcase because Otherwise, why would they be purchasing ahead of time all of these vehicles, right? They wouldn't, in my opinion. So this is very, very bullish for us, guys. And this is further proof that MULN is moving along in the process and is going to start delivering vehicles in the first quarter of next year to Randy, Mary, and Isuzu. And I'm sure that they will have customers waiting for those orders. Now, I'm going to go back because MULN stock, I was getting messages today complaining about the fact that the stock was halted and people upset. And guys, that is not abnormal. I just want you to know right off the bat, I'd love to, fight and say, yes, it's horrible that, they did this. However, this is huge news pending, and it's very common that the SEC does halt trading on news pending, just to clear things up prior to the fact that it gets released. Yes, I'm sure this gives the shorts in this case an advantage because if you notice, the shares spiked. And then they were able to manage to pull it back down. And had we not halted, this probably would have kept on ripping. However, guys, it is what it is. And unfortunately, we don't have control over that. But I do want to explain to you because this article makes it very clear as to the reason for the halt. Now, shares were halted from 8:55 a.m. to 9:50 a.m., which, guys, it seems like kind of a long halt, to be perfectly honest. But like I said, it is what it is. According to NASDAQ, the reasons behind the halt were T1, T2, and T3. The first of these, T1, states the halt was initiated because MULN stock was pending the release of material news, or RMI's purchase order. That was the news that they were waiting on, guys. The T2 states news had begun the dissemination process through a Regulation FD compliant methods. Regulation FD is a rule that prevents publicly traded companies from disclosing material, non-public information to people outside the company unless it also shares the information with the general public. So, they just need to make sure that that's in compliance, I'm guessing is why they give that halt, right? Finally, T3 is a code that shows the information has been disseminated through a Regulation FD compliant manner, or that the system misuse or malfunction is deemed by NASDAQ to no longer have a material effect on the stock, which basically means, guys, that the halt is over, that they verified that this was not, given to the public or to anybody without prior knowledge. But in all reality, come on, you don't think that this gave the hedge funds an opportunity to find shares to drive this price down or to maybe cover short positions? Who knows what this gives them the opportunity to do, because we all know that the system is rigged, but it is what it is, guys. And the reality of the situation is we need to look at the positives, and that is that MULN's getting a lot of attention this week. They are proving proof of concept, and we are making moves higher, and I expect that to continue. Now, with all of that being said, look at these numbers. This is pretty disgusting. 73% of all of those trades today were done in the dark pool. Now, according to Market Chameleon, MULN traded 573.7 million shares. Out of all of those, 73% or 419 million of them were done in the dark pool. Does that seem like a fair marketplace to you? Just asking for a friend. I mean, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts below, because I'd love to know what you think about it. Obviously, I think you can tell from my tone maybe or something that I think it's absolute BS. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, because I do not think that the SEC allowing this total misuse and abuse of the dark pools is allowing for a free and fair marketplace. And I'd love to know if you agree with me or not. Just put a heart below if you agree. It could be as simple as that, guys. I just am curious as to how many of you really think that this is absolutely ridiculous like I do. And you don't have to agree with me. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. It's up to you. Which, speaking of that, by the way, please smash that like button so we can spread the word about MULN, because it really does help out with the algorithms. All right, guys, I have the information as far as the short interest is currently showing on FinTel as 11.81%. Now, I find that interesting because people are saying that the short interest is as high as 47% from what I've been seeing floating around. And I'd love to know with proof where you guys are getting that information from, because this doesn't make sense to me. Why they're so significantly different. Now, obviously, we know FinTel is behind with data, but still, that's pretty significant. And I'm going to show you some numbers that just don't add up to what they're saying for that 11%. I don't buy it for a second. The short shares available are 0, like I stated. Now, they were 0 earlier today as well, guys. And then, miraculously, they got 200,000 more, dwindled down to 150,000, and then down to 0. And this happened yesterday too. So twice today, it was down to 0. And yesterday when we ended the day, it was 0 as well. But like I said, they miraculously seem to keep getting shares from somewhere. Now, here's where things get interesting. Let's look at these failure to delivers, because we got the next batch of information for the next 2 weeks. So failure to delivers, once again, sadly, do not come into play in this stock, which I find pretty miraculous considering on November 15th, they had over 52 million failure to delivers. 52 million, guys. And then the very next day, they had none. Where do you think they found 52 million shares between November 15th and November 16th? I find that very, very suspicious. I don't know what you guys think, but to go from 52 million to 0 the following day to 324,000 the day after, come on now. Doesn't add up, does it? Not to me anyways, but I don't know. My head's spinning thinking about it. Anyways, on November 25th, it got back up to 20,164,000. But I want you to look at something. Look at what they do when the share price, when they get failure to delivers. They drive the price down, guys, trying to convince you to sell, which many people do because they get scared even if they bought it for higher prices. And that's how they try to get their shares. But look at, even here at 20 cents, they still had 20 million FTDs. After it was 23 and they only had 264,000. So like I said, something here is not adding up to me, because normally as they drive the price down, they're getting people to sell out. Yet that didn't happen when it went from 23 down to 20 cents. So I don't know. Thoughts on that? Anybody have any suggestions on what's going on here? There's a lot of talk about tokenization and them using crypto tokens in relation to failure to delivers. I don't know anything about it to give you guys information. If you guys do, I would love to know your thoughts on that as well, because I'd love to learn what is going on with that, because I don't see how that's legal. And it's really been bothering me since I've been hearing about this, and I know they've been talking about it in AMC and GME. But I noticed that when people were talking about Atlas trading and the stuff going on over there, and then with FTX, and I did hear Sam Bankman-Fried on one of the interviews he was doing on FinTwit basically admit that they had the tokens for AMC and GME on FTX. So, because he didn't deny it when the question was asked, and I forget how he answered it because I wasn't paying that much attention until I was like, what are they talking about? And then I started looking at things and finding that people are talking about this, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, guys, but I would love to hear it. I don't know a ton about crypto. I do own a small amount of crypto, but again, it's just like one of those investments that you just put money in and you hope someday it makes you money, and if it loses it, okay, it wasn't too much, so it's not the end of the world type of things with me. So I don't know, but I'm wondering if something's going on with MULN like that, because when I look at 52 million failure to delivers, that is not a small number by any means. And then for them to see it go to like essentially 324,000 from there. Where did those 52 million shares go? That's what I'd like to know the answer to. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a fabulous night. And if you have any information on the things I was asking about, please comment below. Thank you.